want that plug talk. They want that plug talk. Tell them I know. They want that plug talk. They want that plug talk. Tell them I know. They want that plug talk. They want that plug talk. Tell them I know. They want that plug talk. They want that plug talk. Tell them I know.
You're tuned into the Plug Talk Podcast with your host, Tony Davis, and co-host Aprilette and Drew Down. Get the plug.
Hey guys, your radio diva Aprilette.
And it's your boy Drew Down.
And it's the kid Tony Davis, and we are the Plug Talk Podcast. Your overall plug on success, man. Make sure y'all stay connected to the plug at theplugtalk.com.
Yeah, be sure to subscribe right here on SoundCloud at the Plug Talk Podcast and follow us on all social media at the Plug Talk Podcast, baby.
Yep.
Straight up. Now, welcome back to another episode of the Plug Talk.
Missed y'all.
You know what I'm saying?
Long time no see.
It's been a full week, but we back.
Yes, and we back with even better topics, man. Better plugs. And we're going to dive right on into it, man.
All right, well, I would definitely just say, just me being who I am and just being spiritually connected and just trying to find self, I think, as we all do at some point in time, but I've struggled with that for years. So I made a post on social media, and it was, God cannot bless who you pretend to be. And that right there just kind of hit home, because that's so true, because so many times in this world we always put on masks. And you may not be able to relate, but I know some of you can relate. Just putting on masks, whether it's in your job or at home, you can't be who you are, or with your friends or different things like that. You always just try to be something maybe that you're not. So basically my post, I just took it back, and I was just being really real. Like, I was being really real with myself and just being really real with my followers. And basically it all boils down to identity. I never really truly found my true identity. And I just kind of, went through life not really knowing and putting on masks, like I said. And a lot of people don't see that, because I am a radio personality and I am vibrant, in the world. Yeah. But when it comes back to myself, like, I don't feel that way. So I just really asked God to help me, and I'm still struggling through it now, but I feel more better, because that's where I find my identity. I find my identity through God. And like being like him, being more of him, like doing his will, that's what my purpose is. And so they say there is a purpose attached to your name. So don't be afraid of who you are. Right. Like, who you are. You are created for something greater. You just have to dig into that, and don't get sidetracked through all of the worldly things. So I just say, what's the plug this week? Like, being real?
The plug is, you were put here to be real, not to be perfect.
Yes. That right there is hard.
It's hard.
It is very hard.
Yeah, because it's hard to accept that fact of, I mean, no one thinks we perfect on the surface. We know we're not perfect. Yeah. But sometimes when we doing stuff, we want to try to, do it the best we can. Like, so you want to try to put on what you consider like a perfect mask. So you don't want to show those scars of, oh, I don't want to look like this, or you try to come off like this, you try to come off like that. But to be honest, man, like, you were put here to be real. And like, to piggyback off kind of like what you were saying with like putting on a mask and things like that, and like defining like what's real for you, right? So like, my background, I don't think is that extreme from some people that were in extreme circumstances, but for others it may be like, wow, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, from living in, like, we lived in housing projects, but that wasn't even the worst places we lived in. Like, we lived in, like, I grew up, and this may be for, because I hope we have some educated listeners, we have some people from different walks. Let me try to break down something real quick, and I ain't gonna take too long. So when, in living conditions, so you might think like living in a housing project, that's like the worst thing you can live. You live in the projects, that's like the worst way you can live. Yeah. Or like the harshest person you can live. But I've lived in the projects, and I also lived on like a dope set. So that's a different level from like living in, like, you can live in a bad neighborhood, but you may not live on the dope set. Right. You can live in the projects, but with projects, they're bad because usually everybody does bad and things happen. But really, when you live in the projects, it's probably the safest you're going to be, because no one is really going to be in that projects with people that live in the projects. Right. So you're going to have stuff that happen, fights and skirmishes, but it's not as bad. If you compare it to just living in the hood and living on, it's a lot different. So I'm just trying to give a little context to what I'm saying. So I lived in the projects and also lived on a dope set. When I say I lived on a dope set, it was literally where, and back in the day, like when people sold drugs, they would just pull up. Like when you hear Jeezy say, when they pull up, we used to run to them cars. That's how it used to be. Like, so you will have a bunch of dudes that'll be standing out, and literally people will pull up and they'll rush to the cars. Imagine that type of chaos though. Like that's kind of how the neighborhood was though. So growing up in that background, like you kind of develop certain things as your norm. And one of them is being like aggression and violence, and another one is just being just like bad things that you see. So when you grow up in that, you kind of adapt certain things. So growing up early on in life, I was into a lot of stuff just by just association and just being around different things. Certain stuff I thought was just normal, and certain ways I reacted I thought was just, I didn't even think about it. I mean, it wasn't no one to tell me that wasn't how you act, because that was all I saw. I say that to say, going to high school, I was in a DSEG program. The DSEG program sent me to Oakville High School. Most people don't even know what Oakville is. Oakville was like deep South County. It was probably like 30% black. It was a complete culture shock. But I've always been kind of intelligent. I would do the work in the school, but I felt like out of place. And even when I was there, I kind of felt like, I'm not feeling like I'm being phony. Like, I'm not even feeling like myself when I'm there, because the environment is different. Like, I'm looking at all these people that are different from me, different races. From where I come from, it just felt awkward for me. So it put me in like a weird position. So I was, even as early as then, I remember feeling like this ain't real. Like, you know what I'm saying? You ain't, but it really, wherever you are being real in whatever that situation is. But in your mind, you kind of thinking like, oh, that ain't real, that's that, or you doing this. And sometimes in our community, we associate being real with being like almost criminal for real. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I feel like, just to say really quick, even how you brought the projects up and the struggle and different things like that, I've never been through a situation like that, but I have like my own testimony, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's my own reality. That's my own realness. That's what environment I lived in. So say if somebody was doing X, Y, and Z, like that's the realness in that situation.
Exactly.
And a lot of people they can't see that. They just think what their realness is, blah, 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 that's right and that's right. But it's no black.
It's different.
You know what I'm saying? That makes sense.
And so like when you get to so when you have a background like that, right? So getting to that, going to that school was actually great for me, because if I didn't, ain't no telling where I would be. I was just doing so much bad stuff before then. Being that exposed me to different stuff. So I was able to get on a different track, graduate. Of course, my music background. After the music thing, I went to college. All throughout college, in every class I ever took, I always felt out of place. I always felt like a little way, and about the people I were in class with, I always felt like, I really don't belong here. I'm not these type of guy, but I just happen to be a little bit smart, and I was able to do the work, but I always felt like out of place in school. Like I remember, and I'm saying all this to get to a point, so bear with me. But I remember having a class, and I forgot what class it was, but the teacher was going on about like sagging pants, and they had just made it like illegal in like Pond Line or something like that. I forgot what year that was, and he was talking about it, and he was just going in about like this, and this, and sagging pants is not necessarily a racial thing. Because there are older black people who don't like it. There are younger black people who don't like it. But it definitely is like a cultural thing, though.
Of course.
So, like, if you come from certain areas, sagging pants is just not really you don't look at it this. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same. Like, it's hard to really explain it, but it's like, it's really like, it's just the way you do it. It's just the way you know. So, like, your pants sag, his pants sag, everybody's sagging. And a lot of people try like, oh, that's prison fashion. That's not why they doing it. Or this. That's not really why. It's just the way you dress. It's just a part of just a cultural thing.
Yeah, it's a part of the swag.
The teacher, and like it's a predominantly black class, and he was just like going in, and I just felt my blood boiling though, because I felt like you talking about everybody I know, and you talking about me. Even though I'm able to be in this class, even though I'm able to get good grades in this class, I kind of felt like, man, he going a little too hard. I'm like, okay. So I remember this vividly because we had like a 45-minute almost like argument debate.
Okay.
And I was really just trying to defend not really the sagging of the pants, but how it came about, that it's just fashion. So meaning, the point I was trying to make to him was that you don't dress like 1970 because you adapted to whatever fashion came along. Like in the 70s, they wore bell bottoms, and slowly it changed. But they adapted to something, whether it was a magazine, whether it was what they were sold. They adapted that fashion, and that's the same thing I'm saying about the way the inner city dresses. They're adapting it from somewhere, whether it's a rapper, whether it's what they see.
So you were just basically like arguing that point.
I was trying to speak for those people. Like, it's easy to say, oh, no one should be showing their drawers, and of course I get that side of it. I get it, but I was just trying to speak from that side. But anyway, I say that to say, like, I always felt out of place in there and felt like this ain't being real. Shit, these things ain't real. You know what I'm saying? And then as I got older and started to really see the effects of what we called real, or what that was, I started to get a better understanding for real, meaning like my dad, and I'm just getting a little personal because that's what this podcast is for. I do want to express certain things, like, you know, to have my dad in and out of prison my whole life. He just went back. My uncle did 15 years, came home. He was home for like less than 2 years. He went back. And their friends and peers were some of the realest people I know, who instilled, you know, different values in me and what you would consider real on a street level, but there's no long-term benefit in that. So like, you may consider like, oh, that's a real nigga. Oh, that's that. But it's like, is that really real? If you can't really take care of your kids and your family, if you can't really live right, is that really real? So I started to really be like, man, yeah, I mean, that's one realm of life, but real life ain't that. Real life ain't really. But we get so conditioned when you grow up in those environments that that's what we consider real. Like if a rapper come out, oh, this nigga shot 3 people, he real. That's the first thing we want to say. Where if you say like, oh, this person is true to who he is, that's the real person. You know, it's just like the Benny Siegel interview on the Breakfast Club, and he was like, you know, is Kanye West real? Absolutely he real, because he real to himself. But averagely we'll think like, oh, if he ain't catching no bodies, if he ain't moving no packs, then he not really real in that sense. So just the definition of real in my personal life, and just seeing it began to finally evolve on like what real is. Because you can be the realest guy, and if you're doing 25 years in prison, how real is that? Or if you real and you can't take care of your mama, take care of your kids, how real is that? Like, you know, I mean, what is your definition of real? So I circle all that around to say, man, like, to the people that are in that walk of life or trying to portray like, oh, this is what's real, I got to keep it real. You know, we always hear that, like, keep it real. It's like you got to be conscious of what you keeping it real to. You know, are you keeping it real to something that's definitely leading you down to, you know,
to the wrong
path and bad decisions? Are you staying real to that? If I'm telling you, if you walk through this door, you gonna die. And you like, well, I already said I'm walking through this door, so I got to keep real to that. Or did you keep, you know what I'm saying? Because that's kind of really what the streets be like. And because, I mean.
And that's what makes you real. But that shouldn't define you as real. And I just looked up the definition of real. So the definition of real is actually existing as a thing or occurring in fact. So something that's like factual or actual. So if we take like the real definition of real, it's just basically like facts. Like, this is what it is.
This is what it is.
You know what I'm saying? So if you feel like the project is that's the facts. You know what I'm saying? So that is your real. So I think that we associate realness with being hardcore against the in our just urban community, in our urban culture, and that's where we pretend, and that's where we put on these masks because we're trying to live up to something that's not your real. That's not your facts. That's not your reality. So if I'm walking down the street, or if I'm with a group of girls and they're like, oh, you not hood enough, or you not whatever. Well, that's not my reality. I was born on this side, and that does not make me non-real, because this is my facts. You get what I'm saying? I don't like that. So a lot of young men, they get pulled into some stuff because they want to be so real, but you're real to who you are. If your mom works her butt off to pay for you to go to a Ivy League school or whatever the case may be, then that's your reality. You don't have to be real in somebody else's. Now they're real and they have to sell drugs because of X, Y, and Z, so that's them. But you are you, so just be true to your reality.
And that's the truth, man, because like, if you really, anybody that's really in that walk of life don't want to be in it. And I've said that from the giddy up. Like, so anybody that promotes it and advocates for you to do that are not being real with themselves. And that's one level, on the street level, being real. And as a culture, we often do that to our people as a whole. It's just like, oh, they ain't being real. They ain't like a real black person or whatever.
Yeah.
Or they ain't, you know what I'm saying? Because
What does that sound like?
their
Exactly.
existence is different. You know what I'm saying? I can see that some people that do go to, like you said earlier, they wear the mask too much. Where like, you know, they become to be ashamed of being black. Like, oh, I'm working around all these white people.
Yeah.
Let me be as close to white people as possible.
I know a person like that, and I'm not even gonna say, but she works with me, and we've had so many. Like, she does not speak to black people
At all.
And when I even when I look at her skin, like I know that she's bleaching or doing something awkward. But when I got her background, it's because she was adopted by white people, and in this society, and to make it, you feel like you have to be
gotta
white
be,
or you
yeah.
gotta da 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 da.
Yeah.
So for her to even, it's like deeper than that. So I don't
so
even.
deep.
I don't like. I was mad at first, but now I'm not even mad because that's her reality. That's her real, and it's upsetting.
Yeah.
And I wish that we could help pull her back, but she's so far gone where it's just like I don't
happens.
even know if there's no hope. But
Right.
yeah, that was
And
just
I mean, in the interest of full disclosure, I've felt like not like that, but because I know my background, because really, I know my background, but I've been able to aspire to different heights and be in different rooms. Sometimes you feel like you put on that mask, like, man, I don't want to come across like that, only because I don't want to box myself in. So sometimes I battle that within myself, like, you know, hey, if it calls for you got to throw the suit on, I don't want to box myself in like I can't
Right,
throw the
so
suit
let
on.
me throw the suit
I can
on.
throw the suit on, but then sometimes you get into when you in those rooms so much, you
Corey,
can.
how you doing, Mr. Rawson? And you get changing your voice.
You
and
start
stuff. I mean,
to-
you could still be you, and that's one thing I do say. Like I have, like, because I just kind of exposed to you in the beginning. I've always struggled with identity and different things like that. And I will say, when I was younger, I had a little white best friend. Her name was Lisa.
Shout out to Lisa.
And shout out to you, Lisa. And she used to have a ponytail that just used to swing and sway. Now I had like little twists with barrettes on it and stuff like that. My hair didn't swing and sway. And then my mom worked so much, we went to a babysitter house, and it was white people. And I literally basically lived with them. Like I spent a lot of my time with them. We went camping together. We did
Right.
everything. So that was, the normal to me. Those were the
Right.
people. But I knew that I was black. And I mean, being on my dad's side, whatever we doing, black things. But long story short, I know just those experiences when I was younger just molded a little bit when I was a little older, just wanting to have my hair straight and wanting to have that ponytail that swung.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that was life right there. I
Yeah.
needed that damn ponytail.
Right.
And I don't know if that's why, well, now, like, I'm, starting to embrace just my whatever. Like, I'm wearing my natural hair, and you guys know I love my wigs. Like, I really, really do. I'm addicted
Shout
to
out to
wigs,
the wigs.
okay? And it's not even because I want that straight hair that swings. I'm just addicted to it because I'm just not, I guess, as comfortable as I am with just myself.
Right.
So those wigs, like, those are my babies. Those are my hideouts. If it makes
I mean,
sense.
and that's
Yeah.
pretty commendable that you would even say that, though. Really, like
I
to say
know.
that. I
We
mean, that's
breaking
really big.
barriers.
That's really breaking barriers to even
Yeah.
really say that. But it does happen, and I would say like the best thing that happened for me, because I know where I come from. I know where everybody around me come from. I'm like the shining thing. So, but when I got to work
He
in
the
corporate
shining
America,
thing.
I'm like the I couldn't
Look
think
at
of the
him.
right word.
Everybody
And
looking
then-
at him in the hood like, yeah.
No,
Tony
I
Davis.
mean, no, that's not what I mean. Now, please don't let me get
Well,
in
you
that
just
bag.
said you was
But
the shining thing,
What I'm
right?
saying is, I know where everybody around. I know that for most of my life, I looked around and nobody was doing nothing close to what I was doing. So I'm saying I know where I come from. But I'm saying when I was able to get into corporate America and start to see like successful people keep it real, that helped me out. Like, oh. Okay, because all I know is the streets. Like, not to glorify it or something like that. I'm
No,
just
but
trying
that's
to be
your reality.
real, right? So I know that's where I come from. So then when I get into this other world, I'm like, okay, button up, be cool. We know where you from, but let's get this bag over here. But then I started to reach people that were in heights, and they was like, nah, it was real, and that was inspirational for me. Like, okay, I see.
Yeah.
You can get it done, but you don't necessarily gotta lose who you are.
Yeah.
Because I would go in and be like, I mean, literally, I just looked at it like this, like. It was almost like an ego thing. Like, oh, he did that? No care where I'm from, I can go do that too. But it wasn't me transforming over to somebody else. It was just more like, I can do that too.
Right.
Rather than, but
And you can. And like my
Yeah.
quote says, God can't bless who you pretend to be. So
Yeah.
you
You
have,
gotta
and
be
when it
real
all
with
boils
it,
down, you
though.
gotta
Yeah.
be real. You
Yeah,
gotta be
for sure.
yourself.
That's
And
true.
it's hard, but you
so what you think,
got
Drew
to.
Dizzy?
Well, I think that, just being real to your reality, first off, it makes you happier anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not real, like, you
That's true.
You so
ultimately,
uncomfortable?
you
Yeah.
ultimately, like, damaging yourself. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Internally, like,
And you can never grow yourself.
can
You can
never
never,
get better.
you know
Yeah,
what I'm
exactly.
saying? So, and then you damn near always, not on eggshells, but you have like this eerie feeling because it's just like, ooh, am I doing this right? Am I being perfect?
Right.
Am I, perfect to their reality? F their reality, not saying that what you think isn't valid, but when it boils down to who I am, what you think really isn't valid to me because I'm living for me.
Right.
I'm living for God. Like, you know what I'm saying? So,
And then
Y'all, Drew.
touching on what Tony was saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you would only really be able to do or adapt once you actually find yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so once you able to sit down, like, this is the real me.
Yeah.
And then you would know how to interact, you know what I'm
Yes,
saying,
with
in an
others.
uncomfortable environment.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And also, to touch on that, I want to touch on, like, the different incentives that get people to, like, actually that get people outside of that box or, like, to ultimately get them, like, not thinking about like their true self, like becoming somebody else.
Give
you
me
know
an
what I'm
example.
saying? For example, money. So like when people get these record deals, you know what I'm saying, or this big lump sum advance, that ultimately changes people too. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So we also
absolutely.
gotta like look at the materialistic things that are actually in front of us that
Yeah.
are also altering our way of how we view ourselves as a person. You know what I'm saying?
And you always in kind of transition. I know I am, and that's why I kind of got. You said a little bit on the post that you had made. That's kind of what touched me. You're in transition.
Yeah.
So like I'm 30 years old. I spent most of my life in one frame of living. I spent a small part of my life doing something or trying to do something, but you're still always in transition. Even if you were this way and then maybe you got into church, you're still in transition.
Absolutely.
That hallway is the most uncomfortable place to be in because you no longer, and I'm gonna speak for myself, like I no longer fully relate to the people that will come from where I come from. Not completely, because I've seen other stuff. Because I've been in certain rooms, I've seen, so when I come back, it's like, bro, like I can't spend my time doing this no more because I've seen this. But then when I go to the other side, it's like I come from here. I don't really like this conversation. What y'all talking about? Like, oh, I can't believe this is. I'm listening, like,
But it
right?
don't feel right.
That don't
I'm
really
in the
like.
convo, but
That's
I
what
ain't
you
in the
mad
convo.
about. Like, you don't understand. Like, people ain't even eating out here, and you mad. So like, I can't fully complete with them. So you end up in a hallway, and that's kind of where I'm at now. That's where a lot of people. You end up in that hallway. Like, I'm not in that room. I'm not in this room.
And you alone, bruh. So you gotta
And
be real.
You
with
gotta
you.
be real with you, and you gotta be steadfast to not run back.
Yeah.
Now I've done that a few times, and I'm sure other people have too. To where when you out in that uncomfortable space, like, oh, I'm trying to grow, I'm trying to do this bigger, I'm trying to do that better, I'm trying to be a better this, and this. And then you get in that hallway, you like, well, I know what's in that door.
Yeah.
So you'll run back. And you'll find yourself like, oh, I'm back. You know, you back where you to your comfort zone when really you really just gotta run
You
forward.
just gotta,
you know what I'm saying?
and that's gonna hurt.
That's
gonna hurt.
That's uncomfortable. That's a side plug, man. Like, move
Yes.
forward, man. That chain's gonna be awkward.
Yeah.
It's gonna feel like you being phony. It's gonna feel like this ain't really for you. It's gonna feel like you ain't built to do that type of
But
stuff.
the victory is so much sweeter.
But
Yeah,
you
break through.
push through it. Yeah,
Yeah, you
for
gotta
sure.
break through, man. So definitely, always stay real. You know what I'm saying?
Reiterate the
That's
plug,
the point.
man. You were put here to be real,
Exactly.
not to be perfect. And like the more that sinks in for myself personally, and I hope it for other people, the better you really kind of get about stuff like that. You ain't gotta be perfect. Like, ain't no one's perfect. You don't have to be perfect, and don't try to position yourself like you are perfect. That puts too much pressure on you. Like, even with women, with girls, like, you know, they want to make sure they makeup on fleek, their hair is, but like, that ain't really you. And you putting yourself in so much. I mean, of course, put your best foot forward always. So meaning if you, maybe you don't have the best vocabulary or the best this, but don't just use it as a crutch and just say crazy stuff. Try to speak as best as you can. And even if you ain't like the best looking girl in the room, don't leave you as a crutch to be like, well, I can look any kind of way because I know I ain't the prettiest in here anyway.
Right, it's just like, do what you
put
gotta
your
do. But
best
it's
foot
funny
forward.
though, when you said the makeup thing, like I literally get so many compliments when I'm straight in the raw. And I'm like, oh my God, what? Like, why would you even try
In
to
the
holler at me?
raw.
Like, I really, and right now, like if y'all could see me, like I'm
Oh, they can
definitely.
see you. The camera's on.
I'm definitely like in raw form, but like I get so many compliments, and I think it's so strange because like when I'm dialed up and I'm all whoopty wop, I'm just like, yes, like I'm feeling myself.
Right.
I'm the
Your
shit.
confidence goes
Yeah,
up.
but in the raw, I'm just like, why would you even look at
Hey,
me like
sister,
this?
how you
And we really got to recondition. And just to touch on that briefly, I will say I'm guilty of that too. Like I I say that, but I do like to see you made up. Like with Alicia Keys and other people going like that, right? I remember looking at Alicia Keys like, damn, man, she need to put some makeup back on. Like, tired of saying
But it's
she
just like,
used to
but
be-
that's her though.
But that's her. That's what I'm saying. So like at the same
Y'all
time,
don't got on makeup, so it's just like, I mean,
right?
you know.
But we often, I mean, we don't do it directly like the hair and makeup, but we tilt shift on different depending
Give me an
on-
example. I mean, even though we're like kind of like going off a topic, but definitely give me an
Yeah,
example
like,
on
so-
how men feel their grooming is. Even though I know a nice looking man when I see a nice looking man, nice line, like woo woo woo. But give me an
It
example.
ain't necessarily with grooming with men. It's more like how they act, they attitude. So like you got these guys, and this kind of what I was talking about earlier, who like maybe this girl likes street dudes. And like you the furthest from that, my
But
brother.
you all like,
But you
finna
trying
try
to
that
now
look.
you want to try you leaning a little harder, you talking a little tougher around this
the
girl.
slang.
You know what I'm saying? Not
That's
just like
funny.
that's not you, or it's just certain things. Like once a guy knows what a girl is looking for, he do certain
He
things
try to,
to try to do
Alter
that.
that.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, that
And
pretending.
the biggest
And you
is
can't
the
live
stunt.
up to that
The
long.
stunting with the money. That's the biggest thing that a guy
And then
does.
don't get mad. You know what did you say? Stunning when I went. It just takes me back to this one guy.
That's them
Don't get
pretendos.
mad after you done did all this. You basically tricking out your money. You whatever. So then when
Yeah.
somebody, don't
The
get
action-
mad.
yeah.
Don't get mad when
'Cause
it
you
like
don't
help
have
me
it.
with this.
That's the
you ain't
problem.
got- you don't
That's
got
what I'm
the-
saying.
So you
That's
came off the
makeup.
gate doing this.
That's
So with
the-
that being said, keep it up, bruh.
That's the makeup that we do. That you don't have it. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take her to Ruth Chris and do that. But can you continue to go to?
Can
Is that
you?
is that where
Okay.
you usually
'Cause,
go?
baby, if I get you used to my filet mignons
said
with
too
a little
many,
bit of
yeah.
Oscar style, then I'm gonna want that.
Right.
Okay.
Trying
And
to
now you
stunt.
like, oh man, she done got. So that's just the same thing. Like we do it, we just don't do it directly with the hair and
Yeah,
makeup.
but
But
it's
yeah,
done
it'd
on
be
them.
stupid
But yeah,
stuff.
you see how, but even those examples, you can see how like not being real, like that hurts you. Like
It
that can hurt your
does.
pocket,
It
bro. You
hurts
setting an
you.
expectation that you ain't gonna be able to meet
Yeah.
in like 2 weeks.
In the
Right.
long
You know what I'm
run, it
saying?
hurts
And
you.
you stressing like, man,
Yeah.
this girl, she gonna know. Oh, I gotta go. I gotta
For
do
sure.
this. I can't see her. She can't see
Yeah.
me like this. Let me do this. It's just
Let's
like,
be
Yeah,
real.
or for instance, if you being
You
with
ain't gotta be
yourself, like
perfect.
if you being like real to yourself, and you know, like, man, I ain't even into all these J's or all this expensive high designer shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm in the audio, so
Right.
I'm finna purchase equipment that I need to
To
be good.
better
at what I-
yourself
you know what I'm
and
saying?
go
That's-
hard on you.
That may be extra money in your pocket that you ain't
Absolutely.
spending at, you know what I'm saying, Saks Fifth Outlet.
exactly.
and all
You
type
know
of-
where it's
yeah.
most prominent, where you can see it on both sides. It's like school settings. Like if you think of like the average high school. So you take
High school
the
days.
most popular guy, and then you take the people who not being real. They all look like him. It's close to him. Like they
It's
look
close to him,
closer or
possible.
similar to that. If he rocking the J's, they probably gonna go try. You could kind of see what the culture shift. Like those are like the. I mean that's the easiest way to see it. In high school, it happens on the broader scale. But in high school, if you look at the girl, the prettiest girl, whether she's a cheerleader leader, whatever. She's usually setting the tone of the culture. So then the other people who feel like they're a little less than are like, oh, she's so pretty. So they go home week in, week out, day in, day out, and they're thinking about that girl instead of thinking about what's good
Themselves,
about
what
me.
makes them-
Yeah, what makes me me. They think about,
Yeah.
oh,
And that's the
Jody,
hard
everyone
part.
loves her. Oh, I
That
just
is
wish
the
I was
hard
like
part.
that. And then they
Yeah.
go about
And you could become go from a duck to being a swan if you just
Yeah.
get in tune with who
Who
you
you
are
are.
and
Yeah.
what feels right. Because when it feels right and it's natural, like that's the real. And everybody's attracted to realness,
Realness.
whether it's not their reality or not. Like everybody's attracted to their authentic
Right, right.
realness.
Yeah.
So, man.
the closer you can get to that, man, that's
Damn.
really like the best.
Be
And
real.
I think we've all kind of exposed that, no one's right on the mark. Even that person that you think like, oh, they just like as real as they can
Well,
be.
shit, Beyonce, I heard she had halitosis, which may not be true, but no, but for real, there was like a.
Everybody ain't perfect.
No, back in the day, there was like a little blog or whatever that
I
said she
remember
had
them talking
halitosis.
about-
But it's
yeah.
just like you
That's
think
crazy.
so high and mighty of her, like she isn't human and she doesn't have flaws. Like she still got to floss, she
Right,
still got to
yeah.
brush her teeth,
Exactly.
and she may have fucking halitosis.
Maybe.
Like
Yeah, only Jay Z know.
Right.
You know.
But nobody's perfect, man. So be the
Yeah,
perfect
man.
you, man.
And,
Like,
and the
Nobody's
better
perfect,
and the better
babe.
the better you become real, the better person like you
perfect for
become.
me.
You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, yeah.
But then we
Yeah.
have those instances of like, when keeping it what they think is real goes wrong, or like when a person is trying to like overly come across as like
I'm the realest
I'm
person
real,
out
I'm
here.
the realest.
I'm hella real, and like just no filter and stuff. I don't like people like that. To
Exactly.
be honest,
That
it's
ain't
just like
really real.
you could be true to you and stand up for what you believe in. Just different look, plugs.
Yeah.
But having no filter and just saying little stuff at the wrong time, that's not cool. That's not being real. That's just being an asshole.
That's how I
it
feel
is.
about it
It
too.
is.
Like that's everything don't need to be said. Like, oh no, I'm just being real about it.
Like, come on now, bruh. So being real is hurting people's feelings, or being real is, driving somebody, whatever. Like, you have to think about what you say and how you say it. So being real is a full package.
And that's definitely like being used in the wrong context.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
All the time.
Like, it's being honest and then brutally honest, but then it's like being an asshole. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just being real. I'm just
Because I think being real is knowing, like, acknowledging how that person would feel or how you would feel if you were that person. I think that's being real. That's being real enough to know, like, I can do this, but I'm real enough to know, like, if I do this, this is going to happen. That's not just saying, oh, I'm going to just say this because I'm real and I'm oblivious to the consequences of it. That's just kind of like Charlemagne. He says some outlandish stuff sometimes. And he kind of, he wraps it around like, I'm just being real.
Right.
But you're not being real with the consequences, though. See, if you be real, you got to be real across the board. Like, if I'm real enough to say, I'm going to say this to you, then I have to be real enough to know that if you say this type of stuff to somebody, they may react in this way. So then I can't just say, oh, no, I was just being real. If you were being real, then you should have known. I can't just come out and say, walk up here, hey, you ugly, and this.
Right, and those may be facts.
And it may be right, but I have to be real about what this person might react this way towards me.
And that's where your human side comes in. You know what I'm saying? So, like, whether you're real and you're just like, you're still a human, and there's still emotions attached to everything that you do.
Exactly.
So you have to be mindful of that. So let's just not use I'm real, and use it, like you said earlier, as a crutch.
Exactly.
Like, come on now. You're real, but we're human.
Exactly.
So, like, let's have a little compassion.
And you know
to
you
people.
shouldn't. Come on, if you say something crazy
you
to
getting
somebody,
smacked.
you know how they gonna respond.
Okay.
Whether they are actually someone that will smack you or not, but you putting that type of energy out there into the world.
And some things, like I said, are just better not being said, okay?
Yeah, it's like that.
Straight up.
So so definitely, man. So to reiterate the plug one more time, man, you were put here to be real, not to be perfect. Not to be perfect. So I know we go through different things and we wear different masks and we try to put on certain facades or different things like that, man. But just know, man, like, we all got something wrong with us. We all got some skeletons. We all got something, man. So just keep
be
it
true
real.
to you.
Man.
Just
Keep
be
it
real
real.
to yourself. Keep it real.
Keep it real.
Yeah.
You know what it is. It's Drew Down without the O. You can follow me on social media. That's DREW_DWN. And make sure you supporting that St. Louis music. We got that You Listen radio app. Go ahead to your app store, download that. Get in tune with the city's finest artists.
I love it. And it's your Radio Diva, Aprilette, and follow me on all of my social media at Aprilette, APRYLETE, like April, let me in the door. Okay? You can always listen to me at Hot 104.1 on Saturdays, 7 to midnight, and Sundays, 2 to 6. And I'm always looking for my divas of the month, all of my girls that are destined, inspired, victorious, and anointed with anything that they do. I'm looking for you, so I could just give you the platforms to do what you got to do. And
I just heard Beyonce Diva come on in the background every time you say that.
I'm a diva,
I just heard
okay?
that. But so y'all know what it is, man. It's your kid, Tony Davis. Make sure y'all subscribe to this. And make sure we get the feedback, man. Like I said, the Plug Talk podcast. We're going to keep coming every week with different plugs, different insight. But I want that feedback, man. Let me know what y'all thought about this week's topic. Let me know y'all input. Let me know some things that, you maybe didn't keep it that real long. Or maybe you always keep it real long. Or just, your insight on this week's episode. You did?
Yup.
Just keep it real.
They want that plug talk. They want that plug talk. Tell them I know. They want that plug talk. They want that plug talk. Tell them I know. They want that plug talk. They want that plug talk. Tell them I know. They want that plug talk. They want that plug talk. Tell them I know.
If you enjoyed the podcast, make sure you subscribe to us on SoundCloud and follow us on social media at the Plug Talk Podcast.